Wayne, I noticed that David Cummings passed away. His obituary was in the spirit. I was wondering if we could have a moment of silence for him in the meeting.
You're on mute, Wayne. Please unmute.
Wayne, you're on mute.
Cummings.
All right.
Okay. Oh, it's 7 o'clock as well. Thank you. Okay, I think we're ready to get underway. All right, it's 7 o'clock, and the Corporation of Harpers Ferry, it's a regular town council meeting, Monday, the 12th of April, 2021, and it is 7 p.m. So please note, until further notice, Corporation of Harpers Ferry governing and deliberative bodies will be holding its meetings and/or hearings virtually via Zoom webinar, which provides for public participation during public comment when applicable and when posted on the agenda. Alternatively, the public may watch by YouTube video live stream or listen by telephone. These options comply with the West Virginia Open Governmental Meetings Act. More information, the Zoom webinar link to participate in the town meetings and/or hearings can be found on the Harpers Ferry website, meetings and events calendar. Also, visit our website for further information on how to view and participate in the town virtual meetings and hearings. So I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order, and with the approval of the agenda.
Council member Premack has his hand up.
Okay.
I have a question. Item 6C. I don't recall this being brought before council in an official capacity, and so I think that if that's the case, that it should be under new business.
Well,
That's true. It's not.
That is true.
I guess I would tend to agree that I've seen no notification at all or paperwork or anything from the post office. So
I might even take that a step further, if I may, and because there's absolutely nothing attached, certainly we can't take action. There's nothing attached to review. I think this matter should probably go to office ops first for their review and consideration, and then from there, perhaps to budget and finance, then to town council, all very quickly.
okay, again, I would tend to agree. I've heard nothing from any official from our post office, and I think that if office ops were going to dive into the details, if there are any details, ultimately if there are details, and then bring it forward, I would tend to agree with that.
I just want to ask a clarifying question. How did this get on the agenda? If it's like so easy for us to all agree that it shouldn't be on here.
I think, Nancy, didn't you say that you had just heard by the grapevine that the lease was going to be up?
True, but I didn't put it on, and I would never have put it on. I would have said, hey, bring it to office ops. Don't know how it got on here. I'm thinking if Mayor Bishop didn't do it, then some admin staff took some liberties, but I'm going to respectfully and formally request that this be stricken from the agenda tonight, and formally request that it be submitted to with all the supporting documents to office operations so that we can review it and have a meeting.
Well, I guess I would tend to agree. When there are documents, it needs to be reviewed and then brought forward to council.
Okay, thank you.
Could I ask Nancy why you thought it needed to go to office ops instead of just to, what'd you say, budget?
Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't, I just guess it doesn't have to go to office ops, but typically when it comes to building administration matters, whether it's maintenance or leases or whatever, it generally goes through office ops first, but it doesn't have to. We can just look at the lease, see what the terms are. I have no idea whether or not there were step increases that were taking place over the years. I just have no idea. I have nothing before us.
Well,
So-
I'm sorry. I think budget and finance would also want to look at it.
I agree.
The financial analysis. I mean, I think that it's more than just administrative, because the council needs to make a decision, if there's a decision, on things that we don't seem to know anything about yet. So
Agreed.
I think that probably budget and finance would need to take a look at it, whatever it may be, when it may be.
And that's
Okay.
why I said it should start at office ops and very quickly go from office ops to budget and finance and then to town council. As bodies, we should be advising town council on what our findings are.
Good idea.
I don't know why it would go to office ops at all. Office ops
Whatever.
really is for town.
Well, I think budget
administration.
and finance might be a good place for an issue that may arise.
All right, I'll handle it.
Okay.
I have
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
I-
Continuing approval of the agenda.
I have another suggestion on item 7A, discussion and action to revise ordinance 901.02 membership. That's membership on the Water Commission that we discussed at the last meeting. And so it might make more sense to just move it up there under 4D, Water Department, and make that a part of the water reports.
Barbara, could you repeat which item you're suggesting moving?
7A.
There's some 7A.
There's no 7A on my agenda.
You know what? Okay, so let me just back up the bus. We're all looking at two different agendas.
How does that happen?
The agenda that Deb sent tonight with the document package is not the correct agenda. Pat revised it a few days back. And it
What
should be
number is it?
revised on it. And you'll know it immediately because it's got the longer preamble at the top. The old agenda says Facebook on it. Tonight's is being live streamed via YouTube. So look at that preamble that Mayor Bishop read at the top.
Okay. That's
We
fine.
need a brief recess to find the file and print it out because
I know. I'm sure that Deb did not mean to include an old agenda, but she did.
The correct one is in the
Yeah, I'm
meeting
looking at the
documents
agenda
folder for
that's
tonight.
posted. Our official agenda that's posted under glass, that's the one that I'm looking at. And it has.
You obviously are looking at the correct one because you read the correct preamble into the
Correct.
ninth meeting.
Correct.
What item is it? Under the,
Once you,
Okay. Pat is going to scan and send you all this, the agenda, the correct agenda that I'm sitting here looking at.
Mhm.
And,
Well, it's already online. It's in
On
the
the
meeting
website.
documents folder.
Right.
okay. All right. Then I guess.
Yep. That's here.
Okay. Is there anything else on the agenda before we approve it? Moving things, changing things?
Are we in agreement that we can move what is 7A, discussion on ordinance 90102 membership, to 4D, make it 4D6?
For lack of a better place, maybe so, but really, ordinance review committee should have been included under.
Yeah,
under
I
the
thought of
town
that.
reports.
I thought of that too, and then I looked and we don't have an item under, for ordinance review committee under town reports, so I thought, well, I'll just ask to stick it under the water department reporting.
when we get, and I'm perfectly fine with that. When we get to that, we will just announce, Barbara, if you would, that the ordinance review committee did vote this measure forward. So
Okay. Are there any other comments on tonight's agenda? Okay, well, let's see, hearing none, then the approval of the agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
As amended, aye.
Aye, as amended.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, as amended.
Aye is amended. I believe that's everyone. Recorder, did you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on. Mayor's announcements. We did get some sad news. David Cummings, who worked for the town for a number of years as our head of public works, passed away this year. And do we have the date? I mean, I don't have the exact date. I did hear that it took place, so I would just ask for a brief moment of silence for David. He was very dedicated to the town of Harpers Ferry. Okay, thank you. Mayor's announcements, I have none. So I'd like to move on to the approval of the minutes as listed.
Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? And if they don't have any changes, I'd like to make a motion to approve them all in one batch.
I read, it's a good idea. I read them all. They look good.
I have one comment I'd like to make that
Okay.
if I could do so now, let's see, I'll put my hand down.
Well, why don't we do this? If there's a motion to approve all of them, and then there's a second, and then we'll have a discussion, and then we'll have a vote to approve. How's that?
Well, I have a comment about one in particular.
Okay, then go ahead.
If we could
By all
discuss-
means.
if we could discuss that one that I have, and then,
What is the date, Barbara?
pardon?
Which one, which date?
April 5th special meeting.
Okay.
Kevin put a list of names there that I thought the list of speakers was kind of misleading.
Good.
Data can be very complex, and way the data can be formulated can be led to believe one thing over another. And we have lists of names that say supporting and opposed. Well, the issue here is authorizing to sell the streets. And there were about a quarter of the people there, close to a quarter, who did not say they supported the sale of the streets. They simply said they wanted a hotel. And I do too, and I think everybody does. But and then, also, it's interesting to note that there were, out of Kevin's list of, I think there were 46 names, only 20 of them were residents who spoke out. And
So?
well, I think that's important to know that that how many of these people were residents and how many weren't. And of those, 14 were in favor of the street sales. So I'm just thinking that this is misleading the way it's presented.
To clarify, the supporting and opposed was supporting or in opposition to the proposed ordinance, not to selling the streets, not to the hotel. It was the proposed ordinance as written, as presented.
Yeah, but there were, as I said, many people who said nothing about the street agreement. They just said, I like the hotel, like to have the hotel.
I'm not prepared to try to reshape history, but I do agree that it would not be a bad idea to have a resident in either in front of the people that are residents and the others, nothing. But I'm not going to nitpick, because I think it's very clear to everyone, whether they said, yay, rah, I want a hotel, yay, rah, I want the sale of the streets, yay, rah, I think it's very clear to all of us who were in attendance exactly what those who wrote in support of and what those who wrote in opposition to, what their intent was. But I do agree that it might be helpful to have resident placed in front of those names that were residents.
Yeah,
I think that
I
would be
think there
helpful.
were a few that were, we didn't know if they were residents or not.
Right. I certainly can help. I think, it seemed to me that there were about 17 to 20 that might have been residents and the rest weren't. Again,
I discovered 20.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with what Nancy Kay said. I thought there was around 17 or so residents that spoke in support of the ordinance.
1, 2,
There was about 43 people that were listed, and they were, from varying places around the state or out of state or county or whatever. But also the people that spoke in opposition to the ordinance or sale, there were some 60 residents that were not mentioned.
and you know what? Those 60 residents didn't show up at this meeting on the 5th to speak. Again, I'm not going to reshape history to try to make everybody feel warm and fuzzy now. Those 60 residents had an opportunity to appear on April 5th to voice whatever their comment might be, opposed or in support of, but they did not.
Right.
Correct. These minutes reflect only the meeting and not any.
Right. Those 60 residents, I think they were brought up by 2 of the speakers and the petition itself. I just think for the record that people should know that you had 60 residents that were opposed to the sale of the streets. And
you don't even know if they're residents.
This is going
Yeah,
down.
they were all registered residents and voters in the corporation of Harper's Ferry, is my understanding. Yeah.
This is
I never-
to recording public comments. So if there's something in the people who spoke or who we read comments on, the submitted comments, if there's a way to make that recording of those, for people who presented or were presented on behalf by us reading, then we can adjust that. The residents who did not participate, my humble opinion, is not germane to this conversation. And so if it's just removing opposition support, just take them out. These people had a message, and if people want to dive into it, it's in the public record. It's in print, and it's also recorded, and they can watch us to our non-theatrical reinterpretation or a presentation rather.
Right. But
Well,
you would acknowledge you had 60 residents that were opposed.
So shall we just
Take them all out?
take off any support or opposition? These people had comments, they were read.
And
They were
should and should we add an R to the ones that were
I
residents?
think that's
Actually, we're talking about taking them all off.
I honestly,
No, I think he's saying keep the names there.
no, just leave the names. These people, whether or not they live in Harpers Ferry or are residents of Jefferson County or citizens of the United States of America. I mean, where do we draw the line? It's people spoke. If you want to know what they said or where they're from, you can look at their comments.
Yeah, I think the press kind of missed it as well, the opposition. So
are we in agreement just to remove supporting and opposition and move on?
I can support that.
I can support that.
I can support that.
Kevin? Ed?
That's fine.
All right. So
okay, where were we? Approval of the minutes. Okay.
If there's any other changes, we should hear them now. Otherwise, we can vote to approve all of these with this one amendment.
It needs to be separated from the
All
other
right.
since it's amended.
give me a moment.
All right.
I move to approve the regular council meeting minutes of 8 March 2021 as presented. I move to approve, Mayor Bishop? You want to call for a vote on that one?
I'm sorry.
You want to call for a vote on that one just by itself because it's a regular council meeting?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Who made the second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Because there wasn't one, right?
I thought that the motion was going to be for all of these sets of minutes that there were
I'll do
no-
all the special ones together.
Okay.
Mayor Bishop, will you call for a vote, please?
Right, and we just so we're clear, we had a second, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ed Wheeler.
All right. Yeah, Kevin, go ahead and run a roll call vote on that.
Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case,
Aye.
Ed Wheelis,
Aye.
and I vote aye, Mayor.
I move to approve the special council meeting minutes for 10 March 2021, 15 March 2021, 25 March 2021 as presented, and 5 April 2021 as amended.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that. Ed?
Yeah, I think
Ed seconded.
Christian, Ed or Christian, they both
It was-
went the same.
It was a draw.
Either way. Ed went
What?
first.
Okay.
Ed was first.
Okay. Roll call vote, please, Kevin.
Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case,
Aye.
Ed Wheelis,
Aye.
I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye. Okay. On to the item 3, treasurer's reports and approvals.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. This evening's financial reports are for the close of February 2021, which is 2/3 of the way through fiscal 21. Budget revisions were passed in February of this year, and therefore the general fund budgeted numbers reflect budget revision 2, and the waterworks budgeted numbers represent revision 1. Later in this meeting, we will be reviewing and approving an additional revision for each of these entities. As of February, for the waterworks, our regular billing revenues fall at 64% of the annual target, and our overall income is at 65%. Given the price increase mid-year, these are coming in at an appropriate pace. On the expense side, there are a couple of areas pacing higher than expected, such as 675.3 memberships and dues and 620.3 plant materials, and these will be addressed in revision 3 this evening. Other items that are coming closer to 100% are not monthly purchases and are pretty much at their maximum for the year. For the general fund, again, this reflects budget revision 2, taking out $870,000 in carry forward balances from the revenue stream. We have an operating income budgeted at $995,000. The income reported of $652,000 represents 65.5% of the budgeted amount. So right on target for 2/3 of the year. For the most part, the pace of expenses are comparable with passage of 2/3 of the year as well. The budget revisions being addressed this evening will resolve budget items in the expense area that are running high, such as snow removal. Any questions I can help you with for the February statements? Okay.
Thank you for preparing the report, Deb. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yep. Hearing none. Item B, approval of invoices and purchases over $500.
There are none.
Well, moving on then to town reports. Our police department. Is the chief with us this evening?
Hang on, I'm bringing in the chief now. Let's give him a moment to get acclimated. Oh, I just have, okay. He is on his phone, so we're gonna, there we go. Oh, he's in. Okay.
Give him a minute.
Yep, give him a minute so he can get set. All right. Chief, can you unmute? There.
Are you with us, Chief Brown?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I'd like to give the report for March. We had 1 accident for the month. We had 0 call-outs. We had 1 assist. We had 90 citations, 89 incidents for the month of March 2021. Any questions or concerns that you would like to have addressed at this current time by me?
What was, I'm sorry, after 0 call outs, what was right after that?
1 assist.
1 assist.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Brown, I have to ask, there's a wildlife complaint. Which resident would that be?
Well, we
A
will
resident running
contact.
wild.
We'll contact animal control and let them take care of it. How about that?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any further questions for our chief of police? Well, thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Ordinance Compliance Officer, report for the month of March 2021.
If no one's going to read that, you know, the only thing that I have, I don't want to even say it's an issue with, but at the very bottom, he's making a mention of on 331, the follow-up on 630 Fillmore Street, that the resident is performing work that is like for like. I see that this resident is obviously very conscientious and is working hard to improve their home. But the height of that railing significantly changes the 1870 architectural look of that Victorian.
I thought he said that it was not raised, that the railing wasn't raised.
No, it's, if you look at the side-by-side pictures, it's higher. And I clearly get it. When you buy railing today, it's at a certain height to meet code. In the 1870s, that code didn't exist. So, you know, I don't know what the answer is. This railing is up. It's unfortunate because I think had it been discovered earlier, I'm sure the homeowner probably would have been fine with it being lower. But it definitely has changed the look, the aesthetic architecture of that 1870 structure, 1875, I think it is. Anyway, that's the only thing I have to comment if there's nothing else that anybody else has.
I do have one. The first item on Paul Burrup, that particular item, the Historic Landmarks Commission will be looking at his application on Monday at our regular meeting.
Okay.
These windows, we're looking at them. It got brought over to, it didn't go through process. It went to BZA directly, and it should have come to us first. Maybe the porch as well.
I think that with respect to the porch, it would be really good for that to come before Historic Landmarks to make sure that Historic Landmarks is.
I never saw it.
Well, it just, yeah, the
Didn't
oversight
even know about it.
is important.
Councilman,
I wanted to make reference to the porch as well. I think, Jay, you were making reference to the Fillmore Street porch that we just had talked about.
Yeah, I saw the notes on it and I had a look and I share some of the same concerns again.
What is the railing made out of?
I walked by, I can't go and touch it because it's not my property, but it does not appear to be wood.
So I was wondering if it could be cut down to be the right size, or depending on what the material is, whether it could be modified.
Well, I think we're getting into the territory of HLC and other groups that would be the ones that are giving guidance and
Right.
enforcing the
So
rule.
has it been to the historic landmarks?
No.
We don't
No.
think so.
Okay. So that
You know, we don't think that this, I don't know this homeowner. I don't know that they were intentionally trying to do something. In their mind, they see like for like. But when you visually look at those porch railing heights, it is not like for like. So I agree with Jay. We are delving into something that the OCO, Historic Landmarks, and the BZA should be contending with.
Yeah, we never saw the permit.
Well, then, I mean, obviously there's been comments made about the work that was done, and the ordinance compliance officer certainly can take those concerns to the our landmarks commission and have them comment on it. So it's just not an oh well, or
Better let us know by tomorrow. We got to get our agenda in.
Yeah, shall we make a recommendation or some urging that this occur tomorrow?
Well, it
it sounds like the work is done right now, but certainly the landmarks commission has every right to take a look at it and make recommendations and work with the OCO and make suggestions to the homeowner about it. So it's just not ignored.
Christian, can you guys put that on the?
I'll get it on the agenda.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else on the ordinance compliance officer's report this month that we need to discuss.
I might just say, Christian, when you get that on the agenda, refer to my email that I sent probably a week or a week and a half ago regarding the same, which has photographs and it has some information.
I will.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I will. I promise.
Thank you. So we will move on to item C, Budget and Finance Committee.
Oh, that's me. Hang on. Budget and Finance. So we're going to just, let's see. Oh, we'll let Deb do this. This is kind of, let me get to the right, let's see. Hi.
Christian, if you need to reference any of the motions, they're draft minutes I sent.
Yeah, I got them right here. I got them all. So the 4AI, yeah, I have, oh, CI. Is that where we're at? And I'm in the wrong spot. Sorry, guys.
Well, I think the first
I
one,
didn't print everything off. Okay.
the first,
So Deb, are you going to just talk briefly about the revisions?
you bet.
Okay, I'll do the motion.
All right, so this is for the general fund revision 3. On the income side of this revision, we have made some minor adjustments to more closely target normal revenue streams such as 304 excise tax on utilities and 380 IRP fees. The largest adjustment in the income area comes in lines 368, contributions from other entities, where we are accounting for a donation from the Charlestown Moose Lodge for the police department and for the possibility of up to $25,000 from Swan to cover legal fees associated with the street ordinance. On the expense side of this, $25,000 is then reflected as an increase in 417 attorney fees. And we have increased 753 snow removal by 6,000 to allow for the final snow removal invoice. We have decreased 402 economic development due to lack of need as a result of COVID-19. The state has withdrawn their monetary support of the MARC train system. So we have in turn also made an adjustment from line 759 public transportation, withdrawing our intended contribution. In the area of personnel, a 3% compensation is planned by way of this revision for employees covered in this general fund budget who worked through calendar year 2020 during the pandemic. In addition, in the area of the street department, the financial office, and for the office coordinator, measures have been planned to reduce hours so these positions do not exceed 1,040 hours in the calendar year of 2021 prior to July 2021 to enable the next administration to determine a long-term plan for these positions. Any other questions I can help with on the revision? Okay.
I move to approve the fiscal 2021 general fund budget revision 3 as presented by Deb Kelly.
I'd second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Only other, oh,
Okay, hearing
Mum's
none,
word.
Kevin, would you please write a,
Do you have something you should tell us that we should know before we vote, Deb?
oh no, I was just gonna remind Kevin to do the paperwork. So you gotta do what you're gonna do before he can do that.
Okay.
Who seconded that?
I did, Jay.
Thank you. Okay. Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case,
Aye.
Ed Wheelis.
Aye.
I vote aye, Mayor.
aye? Okay, item 2.
And Kevin, please do my paperwork and fax it to me. Or email it to me. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Christian, item 2 is the post office HVAC.
Yeah, I'm opening it right now. Hang on. Yeah. And this one's really complicated.
Did Deb handle that one too, since she's so
Yeah, she's
familiar
got to
with it?
handle this one.
Would that be
She's
okay,
there.
Deb?
Okay. Sure. So the post office HVAC unit was causing some problems about a month ago. And we the town hall, contacted Shenandoah Air Conditioning and Heating in order to have them come and take a look at the post office. There's a little bit of communication issue where the post office and Shenandoah HVAC seem to have forgotten that we are the landlord and should have approved all budget and work to be done. And so therefore, this first invoice for $200 was signed off by the post office. And then we did not receive that bill until the day that the Shenandoah air conditioning had gone back to do another $579 worth of work, which we did not authorize, but the post office did. And so we have talked with both parties, asked for that process to be changed. And so part of what we're looking at doing tonight is approving the $579 bill for repair. However, there is still further work that is recommended, some electrical sensors and such. So I believe part of this motion includes approving up to a certain number of certain amount of funds, up to a maximum amount to allow for this extra work to be done. Do I have that right?
Yes, it's $1,000.
So I just have a question that didn't come up in budget and finance prior. It's all being triggered by this lease renewal. Has anybody taken a look at our lease to see whether or not these are items that we, the landlord, take care
Yes.
of?
This is our unit. It's our responsibility. Yeah.
Thank you, Deb.
And Barb has her hand up.
Yeah, I'm looking at the second, what appears to be the second page of the Shenandoah air conditioning heating
Yes.
bill. And I see where they charged tax on the second page. They didn't appear to charge it on the, it said exempt
Oh.
on the previous page.
I see that. Thank you. I will take care of getting that off. Actually, it's the one that we've already paid, where they have the tax, and I missed that. But I will take it off of when we pay this $579 one, which is the one you're approving tonight. I will reduce it by the $13.23 from the first bill and sort that out with them. No worries. Thanks for pointing that out.
Okay, so we are 242.
This was a mess.
So we're just paying that dollar amount of 500. What is it? And what is the fund, the budget, the line item?
It should be in the ordinance.
440 City Hall maintenance and repairs the building.
I didn't hear you. You cut out.
I could just make the motion. I've got the motion that was made during budget and finance.
Perfect.
How
Just
come I can't find it?
And I'm going to keep the amount of the approval for the invoice at 579 and allow Deb to handle the tax rate.
thank you.
I move that the town council approve $579 for payment of invoice 87870 to Shenandoah Air Conditioning and Heating Incorporated, and approve up to $1,000 to address recommended additional electric repairs to the post office HVAC unit from budget line item 440 City Hall maintenance and repairs to building.
Okay.
I'll just let Kevin make sure he's got that and I can repeat anything.
Yeah, I got most of it, but not all of it.
I'll read it one more time if you'd like.
Please do.
Okay, town council approve $579 for payment of invoice 87870 to Shenandoah Air Conditioning and Heating, Inc., and approve up to $1,000 to address recommended additional electric repairs to the post office HVAC unit from budget line item 440 City Hall maintenance and repairs to building.
You good?
Is there a second to that?
I'll second it.
Okay. Now, is there any further discussion on the motion? Okay.
Thanks for recapturing those tax dollars.
Hearing none, Kevin, would you please run a roll call vote on that motion?
Yes. Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case,
Aye.
Ed Wheelis.
Aye.
I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye. Okay.
Okay.
Item 3.
Okay, I'll talk about the next item. I think I could do this one myself. This is the year-to-date 2021 annual disbursement of funds to the Friendship Fire Department. We do this, we've done this, I believe, every year. So I move to approve the payment of the $2,205 to Friendship Fire Department from the Coal Severance Fund for fiscal year 2021 annual contribution from line item 706 Fire Department. This is in our meeting notes. I'm reading from what was written.
Can I just make a, oh, sorry.
Yes.
This is
We
being
didn't
moved.
second it, so go ahead.
This is being
I did-
moved, right, from where it was to the coal severance fund, isn't that correct?
Right.
Yeah, the money has to come out of the coal severance fund. It's not being moved anywhere. It's just being paid from the coal severance fund.
That's where it normally comes from.
Yep. That was something that was designated by town council many moons ago.
Thank you for the clarification.
And I would also just like to say, because I was watching the transcription, that the amount of money that Christian noted was vastly larger in the transcription than what it actually it is. It is $2,205.
So in his motion, he said motion to approve $2,205 from coal severance fund from line item 706 Fire Department. That's correct?
Payment of
Sounds like,
2205
To
Is
the
it-
Fire Department
to
from the Coal
Friendship
Severance
Fund.
Um, Okay, let me see if I can make this a little more clear. Move to recommend. Fund.
All right, sure do it.
Yeah, the line item that we're going to be posting it against is 706 Fire Department.
How about changing it, instead of saying contribution from, how about saying posted against line item 706 Fire Department?
Right, that's good. And you could say utilizing the coal severance fund.
Okay.
Okay.
Move to approve payment of $2,205 to Friendship Fire Department utilizing the coal severance fund for fiscal year 2021 annual contribution posted from item 706 Fire Department.
I'll
I'll
second.
second it.
Okay. Jay Premack seconded it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Is there any further discussion or questions or clarification on that motion? Okay. Hearing
Nancy,
none,
do you,
then Kevin, would you please provide a roll call vote on this? It looks like you still have a question about what was just said.
I do. Nancy, do you have that written out? Were you just reading that off?
I was reading it, but you know what? I'll type it and send it to you. I can say it again. Move to approve payment of $2,205 to Friendship Fire Department utilizing the coal severance fund for fiscal year 2021 annual contribution posted from item 706 Fire Department. And I'm happy to,
Okay, got it.
okay,
And just so you're all aware, this coal severance fund may decline in the future.
And to that end, in our budget for fiscal '22, in the general fund, we included funding to accompany the money that would come in from the coal
Yes.
service.
So there was a first and a second and.
Yes, we're awaiting the roll call vote.
Okay.
Okay. Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case. Did she say aye?
I did, aye.
Oh, sorry. Ed
Mhm.
Wheelis.
Aye.
I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye. Okay, item 4.
This next item is also coming out of Budget and Finance. It seems to be an annual contribution that we do each year. Deb, unless you have something you want to comment on, I'll just go ahead and make the motion. Move to approve payment of $2,500 to the Bolivar Harpers Ferry Public Library from item 916 Library as budgeted in the fiscal year 2021 general fund budget.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay,
The language came straight from the agenda form, Kevin.
Yes.
okay, hearing no comments or questions or discussion, Kevin, would you please run a roll call vote on this item?
Yeah. Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case,
Aye.
Ed Wheelis,
Aye.
and I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye. Okay, moving on to item 5.
Okay. This one I'm going to let Deb talk about. This one is a little complicated, but we need to do this. It's important.
So there have been a few people who have some back tax situations which are rather large that they're attempting to resolve. And it's resulting in numerous payments that they will make for quite a few years. And so we did originally set up a way that they can do that utilizing an automatic credit card payment, but that does incur an additional fee. And in some of these cases, since it was so very long, they asked if there was another way around it. I looked into it with the bank, and what we're working on right here is a process that would allow us to become what's called an ACH initiator, where we can set up a regular payment, drawing from someone's account and directly depositing it into either our general fund for B&O tax or into our hotel motel fund for room occupancy taxes. And the individual would not be charged a fee. So this would just be for those 2 items. It doesn't have anything to do with water. It doesn't have to do with anything with business licenses. It doesn't have to do with regular payments of quarterly taxes. This is a deferred payment agreement that is made, and then this is the process through which we would regularly collect the fees. As we are a municipality, we are able to, the bank would not be charging us a monthly fee because they feel that is just a cost that gets passed on to our taxpayers. And so we are able to forego the monthly fee, which would normally be associated with each of the accounts that we would be pulling funds into.
The language from the motion that we made on the 10th of March.
Mhm.
I'm happy
Okay.
to present that. I move that the Corporation of Harpers Ferry become an ACH initiator through the Bank of Charlestown to collect back taxes payable through a deferred payment agreement.
Is there a second?
I'll
I
second.
Okay, is there any questions, comments, or further discussion?
I did want to say that Deb Kelly did an awesome job in researching this, and it really benefits everyone. It's a win-win, and really appreciate your hard work in setting this all up.
Thank you.
And also, if I understand correctly, this ACH, this program might allow us to, in the future, utilize it for other payments. Is that correct? Or did I misunderstand something there?
No, I think that this particular one, we want to be careful that we don't get into anything too automatic. I think that we may be able to, in the future, with the credit card processing or debit card processing, allow people to make their quarterly payments. But that is down the road, and we would not do that through this, because we would need to know the amount before we draw, and that's a little more, a little backwards. All right, signing off and bringing in the Water Commission. All right.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
didn't vote on that.
We didn't
Did not
vote. No.
Was there a second?
Yes.
Barbara seconded.
So roll call vote, please.
Okay, Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case,
Aye.
Ed Wheelis.
Aye.
I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye. Okay, moving on. Item D, our water department.
There's a
Okay,
dog.
I just brought them in, so let's give them a second to get settled. There we go.
I guess the dog wants water.
I'm here, but oh, here we go. Ready? Boing. There I am. Good evening, everyone. We are. Let me see where we are on this. Can I give my report first?
Your report, the general report, Bill,
Yeah.
is number 1.
Okay, good. Just making sure. I've been paying attention, I promise. So our water loss for the month of March was up slightly at 17.6%, up just a little bit from last month due to 3 leaks that were repaired, one of which was repaired with considerable heroics by our guys before it was completely fixed. But we're still managing our water loss quite well. And when we do have loss, we know where it's coming from now. And that's still, we're still very happy about that. And we're hoping to, like I think I said before, we're hoping that it will become boring that our water loss is under control. As you know, we have advertised for our permanent operator and training position. The deadline for applications for that were March 31st. We received 20 applications and plan to interview and have a recommendation for this body during the May town council meeting. We're still in the process of meeting with vendors, manufacturers for radio read meters. We've had several presentations so far, and we've seen some pretty fantastic things as to what is possible with the latest technology in meters. So we're looking at that and trying to figure out how to make that work best for us here in Harpers Ferry. We have, as you know, we're doing the renovation of our distribution network in-house, and the first major project on that list is the relocation of the main line in Elk Run down there on Bakerton, and we have we're in the planning stages of that, and we're also looking further afield at coordinating some other projects for the first part of next fiscal year. Some of these projects are going to require us to contract with outside vendors for certain kinds of equipment, like there's a road boring machine that will be required for the Elks Run job. So we're going to have to bring in outside folks as contemplated in our budget. And that will require engaging in a public bidding process, and we'll be working with the town council to accomplish those when they arise. On the plant renovation side, which is getting underway, Alvarez, the contractor, is beginning work to redirect our, we're working with them to redirect our intake flow so they can start the work on the sedimentation basin. And we are also researching the possibility of using a potable temporary filtration system to allow them to work on the membrane system without disruption of the water service. Chris Steyer is working with the health department to see that, what is required for us to get this approved and what their requirements are. And that's it for our general report. And the next item, you probably would prefer to hear this from Deb than me. So I'm going to hand it off to Deb to talk about the budget revision 2.
Okay, the primary purpose for this revision is to include the receipt of funds for the West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources grant that we are receiving to update the early warning detection system we currently have in place. The monies received will cover the purchase and installation of the equipment for the upgrade. And additionally, we had budgeted one $5,000 payment to GD&F, which we do not now need to include due to the timing of the water project loan closing. So we have allocated that money to cover 675.3 membership and dues and 631.4 plant contracted services where we needed a bit more room. Any other questions I can help you with on that particular area?
I would just like to point out that the grant that we got was for $25,650. And we're very pleased with that.
Oh,
Good
and
job,
Chris,
Barbara.
Was there a question?
No, I was just going to say Barbara really put a lot of effort into that. I was just good job.
Thank you.
Is that grant covering the sludge container cover, or does that just happen?
No.
Okay.
it's just this happens to be the same area, but no, it doesn't. The monies penny for penny are spent on specific equipment and an installation contract, and it all equals $25,650.
Okay, we've got a discussion and action here.
Okay.
I could make a motion.
Please do.
I move to approve the Harpers Ferry Waterworks fiscal year 2021 revision number 2 budget as presented.
Second that.
Okay. Any further clarifications, discussion? Okay, hearing none. Kevin, would you please run a roll call vote on that item?
Yes. Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case,
Aye.
Ed Wheelis.
Aye.
I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye.
Right.
Okay, Water Department, item number 3.
We don't require this permit. We received a notification from the DEP that we needed to renew it. But upon discussion with the DEP and the guy who's in charge of this particular type of permit, the way we're doing the distribution project piecemeal will not create the circumstances under which this permit would be required. So we have terminated the permit, and we will not be required to, we will not be asking for action on funding the payment for that permit.
That,
Like it.
yeah, it was mailed out today, as a matter of fact.
Great.
All right, the next item is discussion and action to increase the leak adjustment rate. And I think, Barbara, is this something you'd like to tackle?
Yeah, I'll mention it. In our ordinance, we have language that we have a tariff that is, let me start over again. If someone has used an unusual amount of water, they have access to what is called a leak adjustment. We have a tariff that charges 60 cents per 1,000 gallons based on beyond the average use. And we would like to increase that tariff to 86 cents per 1,000 gallons. We had a pro forma worked out with Chuck Young, showing that we could increase it from 60 cents to 84 cents, which is 140% increase per 1,000 gallons.
Is that an administrative fee essentially?
It is, it's a use fee.
Yeah,
So just so I understand it, the adjustment, if someone was to say have used 5,000 gallons, or let's just say 1,000 gallons over what's normal for them, the fee is you'd remove that from their bill and then they would pay 84 cents?
84 cents per 1,000 gallons of water.
Right, but I'm just saying that it says 84 cents per 1,000 adjusted. So they're over 1,000 by their usage history, and you would adjust it down, and that would cost 84 cents versus what it typically would cost.
20,
29.
29.
Does that also carry over into the sewer side of things?
Into the what?
The sewer?
No, it does not.
There's no sewer adjustment.
Well, the sewers on, they're not, I don't believe that part of it is charged.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
Because
their
the water was not used, and it did not go down the drain, so to speak. So their water's not actually, they're not being billed for that amount of water usage.
Okay.
And that would be water excessive use beyond, outside of general plumbing repairs that was ignored and things like that. It would be excess usage, excess water beyond the control of the homeowner.
Kevin Carden.
Recording, yeah. Kevin has his hand up.
Yeah. Barbara, you said that that rate is in the ordinance, right?
Yes, it will have to go through the regular ordinance procedure. This got put on the agenda and we decided to leave it on the agenda so we could at least have a discussion and know what's coming down the pike.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify if that's in the ordinance. It has to go through the
Yeah, it
ordinance
would. We'd have to,
process. And because it's a revenue, it also has to go through public hearings, I believe. A public hearing.
yeah, I think we have to do a publication on this.
Mhm.
And the same with the next one coming up.
Okay, with item 4, you're not asking for any action except or discussion.
No, we can't do it right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry.
If we can't do anything, I assume the same would apply then to the change in the security deposit. Is that also something that?
Yeah, we should really put these two in this, when we go to do an ordinance change and a public hearing and publication, we should keep these two together because they both affect our current tariff.
Does not go before the ordinance review committee to address them since they're going to be proposed change to town ordinance?
We can do that.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Is there anything else then from the Water Commission this evening?
I think we're
Yes.
supposed to do the discussion and action on ordinance 901.02 membership.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just going
This-
to interject really quick, Barb, before you get started. Christy Huddle had asked to participate for this part of the discussion. Is it okay if I bring her in?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead, and let's keep moving.
Yeah, I thought she would be on there.
She's coming in now. Give it a second, please, for her to get adjusted. Okay.
Is this for me?
Yeah,
Yep.
this item, discussion and action, revise ordinance 901.02 membership.
Barbara, you want to lead the discussion?
Okay, we have in our packet a copy of the revised language that we're suggesting for an increase in a representative from Bolivar on our water commission.
That's your name, right?
I know.
And actually what you're probably going to have to do folks, is look at your original package. Your original package had 28 items in it. The package that was sent tonight only has like 24.
Oh,
So
it
it's
doesn't
not-
have this copy.
No,
I don't have it.
it's in your original package that was sent back from Patty on, I think, the 8th.
Kevin's got it on the website.
Yes.
There it is. Oh, I see.
And
4CI.
I'll just tell the town council that this information did come before the ordinance review committee. And the ordinance review committee approved this language on March 31st at our meeting. And the ordinance review committee is now moving it forward to town council for the town council's review, consideration, and vote.
And
And-
keeping
and-
in,
Shall I read it or?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, I'm looking at it here. Go ahead.
Okay, I will read this and I'll indicate which words were struck and which words were added. The commission, meaning the Water Commission, shall have at least 3 and no more than 6 members. And we're striking the words all but one of whom shall be residents of Harpers Ferry, except that the member who is not a Harpers Ferry resident shall be a resident of the Harpers Ferry Waterworks service area. And so let me read it with the words already stricken. The commission shall have at least 3 and no more than 6 members, all of whom shall be qualified by knowledge and experience in matters pertaining to the operation of the Corporation of Harpers Ferry and the Harpers Ferry Waterworks, and all of whom shall be nominated and confirmed by the town council. The following words have been added. All members of the commission shall be residents of the Harpers Ferry Waterworks service area. The town council may appoint up to 2 members of the commission who are not residents of Harpers Ferry, 1 from the town of Bolivar and 1 from the unincorporated area. End of added words. It goes on to say that upon creation of the commission, its members shall be appointed for the following terms, and it describes what those terms are. And that's as there's been nothing changed in that. So I move to revise ordinance 901.02 to strike certain words and to add language as presented.
A second.
Okay. Is there any further comment?
yes. To clarify, keeping in line with the ordinance numbering, this would actually be ordinance number 2021-03, which revises ordinance
901 Water Commission.
Article 901.02 of the codified ordinances of Harpers Ferry.
Okay.
Okay, we've had a motion. Is there a second? We did have a second.
Jay seconded.
Jay, okay. Any further clarifications, discussions, questions? Okay, hearing none. Kevin, would you run a roll call vote on the item?
Yes, Barbara Humes,
Aye.
Jay Premack,
Aye.
Christian Petroconis,
Aye.
Nancy Case,
Aye.
Ed Wheelis,
Aye.
and I vote aye, Mayor.
Aye.
Cool.
Okay, item 5, organizations and other reports. Is there anyone in the council that's anything?
Excuse me, Mayor. Christy Huddle has her hand up.
Okay,
I would just like to add that the 2 items that preceded this, they're required by state law. We know we do not follow state law currently. We're trying to bring the ordinances up to date to state law. So we do not have any room for maneuvering on those 2 items, just so you know.
Okay, thank you.
okay.
I'm saying there's probably no point in going through the council subcommittees to approve them because we have no room for maneuvering.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion?
I'm gonna
Item 5 now in organizations and other reports.
convert the Water Commission people back.
Okay, I'm not hearing from any organization.
Change role to attendee.
Item 6, unfinished business. Update on the Corporation of Harpers Ferry's response to the COVID-19
Attendee.
pandemic.
And Christy left herself.
Deb, could you possibly mute yourself, please? Thank you.
Okay, so updates from our council on Corporation of Harpers Ferry's response to COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any reports this evening?
I can add that this week is the biggest week ever in vaccines available. It'll be at Hollywood Casino today, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Thursday. It is appointment only at this point, so people need to sign up, register, and they'll probably be getting a vaccine. They're going to do them by vehicle in the vehicle as they go through the casino area. I believe in their parking area.
Oh,
5,000 per week the next 2 weeks.
wow. That's really
There's
amazing.
no excuses now. Sign up. Sign up.
It's amazing.
Thank you, Christian.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other comments on unfinished business, item A? Okay, item B is discussion and action on the High Street Improvement Project. We received these drawings some time ago from the state, and actually we went and received the engineering and the grant money for the construction as well. I think everybody's seen the 3 different options. We looked at this, I guess, a couple of months ago, and we actually had a public hearing and received comments from some of our residents and businesses regarding the project. And the state and Region 9 are, they're asking us what we want to do here. And they want to initiate a phone call on the 14th of April, initiated by the state and Region 9 to ask us, so what are you guys thinking over there? What do you want to do? So again, I think everybody has looked at the different options, and they called and asked. So I just wanted to put it out there for the council. What's your pleasure on the path forward on this proposed project?
I think that I'm not trying to drag my feet here, but this is has a potential impact in changing the landscape literally of Lower Town. And I don't really get the sense that there's been a meaningful conversation to date just on this topic. The state had their presentation, which was recorded, which was informative. Content has been posted at Town Hall. The drawings are, I suppose, available. But this just feels like one of those things that could just sort of happen and people could wake up and not know. And I think that it's important that we focus a specific meeting for the community and have it sort of like a public hearing where we can actually have comment and hear from people. I wouldn't feel comfortable making a recommendation because I don't have a good sense other than the few comments we've received. And I have a feeling it may come down to communication on our part to the community. Now, I might be out of left field here, but I'd like to see an email go out to the entire community and set up a meeting so we can actually make sure folks are well informed and that the town council is well informed to make a decision that will have an impact potentially on the Lower Town landscape.
I agree. I feel like people either aren't paying attention. This is it could be such a big event and change, yet very few people have commented. 6 people have commented on this. And so I feel like people just aren't paying attention, and maybe we have to shake them up a little bit to say, hey, you probably should weigh in on this. And also even the town council has, short of the public weighing in on this, the town council hasn't even talked amongst ourselves in depth about this. So for us to make a decision now in the next 48 hours so we can have a phone conversation, I think is unfortunate. I wish we could put the phone conversation off for maybe a little bit.
Councilmember Wheelis has his hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I attended the highway presentation, and it was portrayed, the session I attended, as an opportunity to learn about the three options, not an opportunity to voice your
Correct.
opinion on which one you would prefer. So I think that I agree with Jay. I think that needs to be made clear that we are, actively requesting that kind of feedback.
Okay, well,
Council,
I would just make this statement that as far as the discussion, discussion action on High Street Improvement Project, this isn't the deadline night here that it's going to be whatever the council's pleasure is. You want to have discussions, if there's going to be more meetings. The state just wants to know what we're thinking about. They'd be quick to tell me, you already had a public hearing. Okay, but so what I'm kind of hearing is if there's a motion to kind of select a good path forward with this item, then that'll be the motion, and that's what the body will agree to, and then that's what will take place. I haven't heard that we're in jeopardy of losing funds or that people have run out of patience or any of the above. So if it's the council's wish to investigate, learn more, discuss, have hearings with our businesses and our residents, then that's what we should do. And we can report that to the state on the 14th at 10 a.m. that's what we're doing.
Councilmember Pachakanis and Premack have their hand.
I was going to add, I was on that hearing as well. It was definitely just for information. They did allow some questions. One of them on the last one, option 3, the most expensive, I believe, that was the one where it would go one way. Now that one's complicated, not only because it's expensive, but because of the changes, the traffic pattern throughout the town, including 340. And that's probably going to require a big study. That's going to take a lot of time. So we need to know more about that option and what that would entail. Also, it will affect the national park traffic patterns as well, I believe. So there was no information on that and how long that process would take, and how we, I don't know. I just think we needed more information.
Well, you can do all the above. You can seek more information. You can discuss it. You can have a meeting. You can have a few meetings until everyone feels like they're informed and the public's informed. I'm just bringing it forward to you that we do have the money. We received it from the governor, and that we have design drawings, and they want to know what our intent is or what we're thinking about. So on the 14th, after there's a motion made here and a second, and we vote, I'll report to them what the Corporation of Harpers Ferry is thinking.
We appreciate the fact that they've held a public hearing. We're grateful. We would like the opportunity to have a public hearing of our own so that we can get feedback, and maybe that's what we say to them.
Okay, well, I don't know if we need a formal vote then. We can just have a discussion and I can report that to them, and we're going to be in touch.
Can we?
Councilmember Premack has his hand up.
Thank you. Thanks to the mayor for bringing this forward for discussion. It's just good that it's not getting totally mothballed. The question I have for you, Mayor Bishop, is, have you been guiding this? Is there anyone else who's been involved that knows as much about what's going on?
Well, I guess the response to that is it's been over the last couple of years that I believe we had to fill out forms and paperwork to be eligible to receive the engineering money and the construction. But really, I don't think I know anything more about it other than the drawings that we have before us, the designs, the options, and the selections that we can make.
Okay, well, what I'm sort of getting after is thinking in terms of some action items, things that we can actually do to help move forward, and capturing the information that we know the brief history of this project in terms of, when the grant money was applied for, what the options are. If we could stand up, if Kevin, if you would support this, if we could stand up a brief section on the site that has the information that the town has, to put it all in one place for folks to get to, the drawings, the link to the meeting that occurred for the information session, and we can at least
Comments that folks have already made.
yeah, it's just, this is a big deal. And what I'm asking is, Mayor Bishop, if you have any insights or notes that you could contribute, just from whatever sort of perch you've got on the logistics or the options as you see them, we could all can sort of put that together into a document that can evolve in terms of informing folks, and fill that out as we understand more. Ideally, it would be succinct but comprehensive in terms of, this is where we started, this is where we're trying to go, and this is where we're getting there.
Yeah. I think we have all that information. So if you wanted to come back to council again with what that's going to look like, or we'd simply post something from the origin of the project and when we received funding, what happened with the design, what the design is, information about the project, and that the council's currently looking at it and is going to set up more meetings. Certainly we can do that, unless the council wants to get involved in the content of the bullet points and the history of the project.
Yeah. I was also,
Councilmember Humes has her hand up.
Yeah, I think some of what I was going to suggest has been touched on. I thought if we could get the materials that the state people provided at the workshop that they had, including their color photos of what it would look like and the 3 different options, that would be helpful. But I think we do have access to that. Do we not, electronically? Those their pictures and.
Why don't we assemble everything, and it'll be, it can be sent out to the council, and it'll be sent to the recorder, and he can post it, and then we can, it can be a live document that can be added to and taken away from.
Councilmember Petrakunas has his hand up.
yeah, and we also got to make sure one of the most important stakeholders is the Merchants Association members in Lower Town. We keep talking residents or we're a little general, but we've got to make sure that they know exactly what's going on, because it impacts their businesses. And the Park Service needs to be involved, because potentially for option 3 requires some of their land, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You're correct. Andrew Lee's been involved with it. I actually took the concept to the Merchants Association. I don't know, it's been a year or so ago, and what was coming down the line. But when it did, I said that there would be public hearings and that the state would present and have a hearing. And so I think we're all kind of talking about this and agreeing to the fact that there's going to be more discussion on it. And I will assemble the bullet points that I know of and the information that I know of, and we'll prepare it for the reporter to post it to the website. And it'll be a live document. There'll be more meetings. And I don't know if there's someone who wants to kind of, as far as I heard meetings being mentioned and hearings and things. So, are we pushing this into next month, or?
Well, since we're all here discussing it, it's on our agenda. It would be really helpful if we could clarify exactly what needs to happen, and at least get our sights set on some action items and some outcomes. And so, don't all jump at once, but does anyone have specific things that they think we need to do? I've written down the presentation and information that will be on our website.
First, we'll do that first. We'll get all that information up.
Then there's the engagement component, which is the town can do a little bit more to reach out proactively through our communications channels, be it Facebook, and the newsletter, or the email letter, just with a summary of please come here. And then before that's done, we need to know when we're actually going to hold an informational session or meeting. If it's going to be that plus comment and a discussion, I think that doesn't have to be super formal. It's just we need to get those things happening in an arena where there's actually participants in addition to the town council.
A workshop would be ideal. Workshop.
Workshop.
Okay, newsletter, Yes. Information on the website, yes. Newsletter will say there'll be a workshop that will be scheduled by the elected officials. News forthcoming, and that sounds like that's starting to look like a path forward.
So we basically need information, number one, collected on the website. Then we need to actually schedule a workshop. Then we need to actually present that information again. Sorry, work on the engagement through communication, because we actually have to have something to communicate to people. So we need those things in place before we do outreach. So from what I've gathered so far, Mayor Bishop, you're going to offer some of the information you have. Kevin, we can compile it, put together with town council input onto the website, and then we can work to schedule a workshop. And I would hope that maybe that could be done just based on a 2 to 3 week window, so we can get something cooking.
Yep.
And that will allow us, maybe we schedule it following the next town council meeting. Just get it on the books and we can discuss this briefly at the next town council meeting.
Yep.
And in the meantime, we get that information out to the community over a series of a couple of weeks leading up to that. Would that work for everybody?
We can do all those things.
Can we, Jake, I was thinking, instead of inviting the whole world to this thing, is like invite maybe some representatives from the park, some people from the Merchants Association. I mean, without having 90 people in this meeting, we're talking about a give and take discussion. Is that how we're?
I think we want to accomplish getting engagement. I hate throwing that word around because it's so super corporate, but we need people to be connected and engaged to have a conversation. And I think that, we can frame it around discussing what we know, discussing what obstacles or decisions lie ahead, and consider the information and discuss a path forward. And
I would hesitate, Christian, I would hesitate to ask anyone to represent. I would want every resident and every merchant who lives in that immediate high street area to have the ability to represent themselves. So I wouldn't want to exclude anyone from wanting to voice.
I was thinking we're going to have more than one meeting. I was thinking.
We'll probably have an informational workshop, kind of a session, just to get people connected. And that moves us forward to the point where there's time for a hearing to actually make some decisions, and those people can make public comment. And the idea is that by creating more engagement in a workshop and awareness, people talk about it, and will come and actually voice their concerns before the council would commit to a decision.
Okay.
That would give me confidence in making a decision, knowing that we've done what we can to be informed, to inform people, and to make informed decisions.
All those bullet points you mentioned, we'll get those squared away. We'll discuss it at the next regular council meeting, and then we'll have the actual meetings to engage the public.
Councilmember Humes has her hand up.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just had an idea that might be helpful for the public. When we post a lot of stuff online, it's oftentimes very off-putting to have to wade through it, read it, documents, et cetera, all that is good. All that is good to have, but it could be very tedious for people. And I'm wondering if it's just a thought, a brief video of somebody presenting the 3 options, maybe holding up some pictures, would be helpful for people who are wanting to get information quickly, absorb it quickly.
Is there a video of the state's hearing of the Department of Transportation's presentation?
Pardon?
Is there video that exists of the Department of Transportation's presentation?
Well, yeah,
That's where they would have done that.
Get that to us. Barbara, what I was thinking was that, the way that I would help communicate this thing would be to actually go to the site and stand where the work is going to take place, and maybe have, a few boards there, and, you could talk to people at a safe distance, of course, but that would be another way to.
Yeah, that's another way of communicating.
Okay. Jay, can you put all your points together and send them to the email to all of us?
I will compile a path, I think, that makes sense in terms of communications and steps forward. I'll send it to the council with a recommendation of when we schedule an actual workshop. And Barb, I commend that goal of presenting the information in a concise format. But as you know, a lot of these projects can become overwhelming if you're not following. And I think this is a step in the direction of putting the information that people can read in one spot and giving a very brief history and what needs to be done. And I think beyond that, promoting and doing outreach is about as much as we can do. But producing additional content, I do that at work. I wouldn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. It's effective communications is very complicated in terms of doing it well, and it takes a lot of energy. But if you have time or wanted to do it, I wouldn't stand in your way.
Okay, please send out the bullet points path forward. We'll get that up on the site, and we'll do what we just described. Okay.
If we are all looking at the correct agenda, there's actually one more item. It's called discussion and action on recycle program for trash in Lower Town, but I don't see anything but the agenda request.
I can talk to it.
Okay.
If Patty's not around, Patty and I have been working on this little project. Is Patty there? If she wants to talk about it, she can, but I can.
Is she here?
Yes, she's here.
Yeah, she wanted to talk about it, and then I can add a few words.
Thank you. Christian came to us and talked about the idea of trying to do some recycling from the trash in Lower Town. And while we thought this was going to be a great idea, and we got it on the agenda as a placeholder, and it took quite a while to get Waste Management to respond. But long story short, basically Waste Management, who is our contractor, and it's for commercial services, they will only recycle paper and cardboard. So that's really not going to help us in Lower Town.
Mm.
Yeah, they're no longer recycling glass.
Well, nobody is. Waste Management is not.
Apple
Valley is not.
I know.
And so, we were looking at, containers to put down in Lower Town, and I was pricing out different options where you'd have a container for plastic, all these water bottles, and for cans. But as Christian mentioned, most people aren't drinking soda cans anymore. They're getting sodas and beverages down in Lower Town, and they're coming in the plastic cups. The other issue is, the big issue is they only take paper and cardboard. So
wow. When did they stop taking plastic?
I don't know, but if they mix anything with the plastic, like any kind of liquid or something, it just turns into a big mess. And of course, down there, that's what everybody's going to do. They're going to not finish their drink, throw it in, wrap up their food that they're not going to finish, throw it in. So unfortunately, it was an interesting experiment in trying to get this information, but I unfortunately don't think that this recycle program would work. I was hoping that they would do glass, and then we could open that up to our residents who are not allowed to put it in Apple Valley, but that's not an option.
Yeah, and this all stemmed from a written letter of complaint to one of our merchants. So I'm the liaison. So I heard about the letter. The lady was upset that we don't offer it. According to Patty, though, and it sounded like the Park Service used to offer recycling, but of course they pulled all their trash and recycling from their park, the entire park.
Question: the comment or the complaint, was it accompanied by a suggested solution, that like an actionable solution other than?
She wants us to put recycling bins down there.
Well,
first.
Okay. I mean, I think it's a wonderful sentiment, but the reality of the situation is that it's very complicated.
It's not, right.
There's less recycling ability now than there was
Right.
5
So
years.
A lot of people aren't aware of this. They're not aware that recycling as a business, where the country as a whole ships our garbage out of the country. The whole business of glass no longer being recycling has everything to do with us shipping that glass and other countries not taking our waste. So it's a much bigger problem than just, we don't want to recycle, because I think all of us would love to.
Yeah,
and I was down there to have a feel good, I'm participating, but bottom line is it's all going to end up in the trash.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, it's going in it's I was in Shepherdstown today. They actually have bins for it, 3 separate bins. They don't have one trash can, they have 3 separate bins. But if they use Waste Management, all 3 bins are going to the same place, landfill.
Well, the state-of-the-art, world-class facility outside of Martinsburg called Insorta is a facility that takes everything and turns it into energy to power nearby factories. And it's really a fabulous place. So it's a hard habit to break, but I'm now putting my glass into my trash stream because it's going to go, it's picked up by Apple Valley and they have a contract with Insorga. So it goes over
That
there.
makes me feel better.
Yeah, it goes over there and they
All
can't
those wine
separate.
bottles? I'm sorry.
Yes.
You know, Barbara, I'm surprised because I was talking to Apple Valley
Soda bottle.
recently, and they said, no, they won't take glass.
Does anyone want to take on this as
Put it
a,
in your trash, Patty.
Let me just add this, the Jefferson County Transfer Station, for those of you who, they recycle all of your glass there if you take it there.
Where do they take it?
Where
do
do
they
they take it?
When
don't
you
know.
send them the glass, what do they do with it? I'd love to know.
That I don't know. I just know that they recycle. You can take all of your glass there.
someone had mentioned before, this is a wonderful Eagle Scout kind of a project. If we can find a local scout troop,
I'm not an Eagle Scout.
take this on, give them some merit badges and some cookies. No? Okay. I don't mean to, I think it's important that we cut down on trash, but you also have to look at the source.
By the way, the trash is really heavy. Let me tell you, I got involved in it and it's starting to become a problem. I mean, the volume of trash we're getting it fills the whole truck up just to bring it back up from the hill. And that's just one day.
Just focusing on something that we could actually do. Is there a relationship with Shepherd? Is there anyone that does environmental education? Is there an opportunity to actually look at something where you can change behaviors? You know, if it costs the town money to deal with this stuff, it might be a program where the town may actually want to subsidize in the beginning, transitioning away from styrofoam containers and all of the stuff that gets put into landfills, you know.
We'd have to work with our merchants to stop using the styrofoam and use paper.
I think the first step, I think it's a great idea. First step is probably that we have a conversation to see if there's interest among the merchants in talking about this. That's a potential path forward.
Yeah, so Christian, why don't you do that as the liaison? And then perhaps we'll put it on the next agenda.
I'll keep going on this recycling thing. I'll keep it up. Yep.
And remember, Christian, what we've done in council last year, we did increase the size of our dumpster.
We did a good thing. Yep.
And then certain months we have a 2-time-a-week pickup, and then we cut it back during the winter. So it's April. I have it on my calendar to call them to start picking up for the 2 pickups.
Yeah, the weekends
now we're going to
Okay.
start having heavy
We're getting
traffic.
big.
Have we
Okay.
gotten through everything that we need to?
That's it.
That's it.
No one objects. I'd like to motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Good night. Have a good evening.
Night.
Thank you.